Hi, everyone. Welcome to Out and About with Tom and Sherry. This is our last video number 6 in our Tonopah, Nevada series. And this video actually is in Goldfield, Nevada, which is about 26 miles, I guess, south of Tonopah. And it was a mining boom area as well, similar to Tonopah, for gold discovery. And the town of Goldfield was established in like 1902, 1903, and at one time was the largest uh, town in Nevada with like 20,000 population. And that was again in the early 1900s. So the Goldfield Hotel The Goldfield Hotel is considered by many to be one of the most haunted places. There's lots of videos you can watch online where different ghost tours have gone there, but we had the unique opportunity to join a group of about 20 people on a private tour of the hotel at night. And this is a photograph outside the hotel before we started on the tour. So it was kind of perfect with the moon behind it and everything. So it turned out to be a good photo. But the hotel was constructed in 1907, which was about the same time as when the Mizpah Hotel was constructed. And if you haven't seen that, we have a video on the Mizpah as well. But it was connected with George Wingfield, same guy, along with some others at the Mizpah. It was a 4-story hotel, and the rooms were on the top 3 floors. You can see the 3 floors here above the main floor. And from what I could find online, it had about 150 rooms and 45 suites, which had bathrooms. And I guess it is estimated that it was built for between $300,000 and $400,000 to build that. So, anyways, we'll share a little bit more about the hotel as we kind of go through the property and let you know what we found. So, this is just photos and us narrating some of the photos and whatnot. So, we hope you enjoy this little tour. So, this sign was in the hotel in the lobby. So that's how we went in. We went into the lobby and everybody kind of congregated there. But it's had a variety of owners since it opened and closed and people wanting to restore it. But this apparently is one of the signs about the restoration. It's dated January of 1988.
And you can see from the floor here that this has been restored. That's obviously plywood on the floor, so the floor's been replaced. And then the doors to the left of the stairway are the elevators. And there was pineapples etched in the glass on the elevators, which I thought was interesting.
The elevator was a key part of the hotel that were behind these 2 doors. Apparently, it was one of the few hotels west of the Mississippi that had an elevator until you got to like San Francisco. This is inside the lobby. Again, looking from the inside out, where the hotel sign etched on the window. And again, you can see in this photo, you can see those elevator doors. And you look online, you can find photographs of the lobby, the historic lobby, and how it looked. There was a big mahogany um, check-in desk.
And here's the main stairs going upstairs. And I really like this. A lot of the hotel is in the process of being reconstructed, and a lot of it remains the way it is. And you look at these stairs, and I mean, obviously the carpet's very worn, and you just wonder about all the people that walked up and down these stairs. You know, people that became millionaires in this gold mining boom. George Wingfield, people like that. And they say if walls could talk, but if stairs could talk and tell the stories of the people that walked up and down them. And that looks to me like the original, very worn carpet. And I thought that was just fascinating.
And just another view of those same stairs. the railing, and I'm assuming this is mahogany. Like I say, most of the write-ups you read about the hotel talk about mahogany wood, so I would imagine this staircase probably is.
It was another place where I really looked and thought about what it was like back in the day. And in the background, there's a better picture of it coming up next. But in the background, there is the hotel safe where you could put your belongings, and it had a lot of little cubbies for individual stuff. And then in the lower left hand corner was what I called a safe within a safe. And you just wonder what people stood there, what kind of belongings were stored in that safe. And because remember, this town was booming. In 37 years they took out $86 million. So, and that was in early 1900s dollars. So if you calculate that out today, and here's the better picture of the hotel safe with the little cubbies, and then the big safe within a safe, the name of the hotel on top.
So, and this is also in the lobby. This is the fireplace in the lobby.
And stuff I like to look at is the stonework in the building. There's a lot of really beautiful stonework. I mean, there's the red brick work on the fireplace and the hearth, but up above it is some of the stonework for the hotel that was, probably stone gathered from not too far away.
So this was to the left of the lobby. Like I say, we got to walk around down there before the tour actually started. And again, this is probably mahogany. And as I recall, this was part of the saloon bar that was in the hotel, and it's upside down, I think. But what did you think it?
Yeah, this was the arch that was over the bar. Um, yeah, and like Sherry said, it's upside down there. There's some later pictures that show things that are obviously upside down, but this was the decorative element over the bar. And here also you can see a better picture of the tile work on the floor. Obviously, that white floor sink had been added later at some time. And on the back wall there with that exposed framing, it was kind of interesting. The way they did the plaster on the wall, it wasn't sheetrock like we use today. It was metal mesh that was tacked to the wall studs, and then they put plaster or concrete or something. It looked like it was gray, so it looked like a concrete type product over, and just built up the layers to smooth out the walls. But then you've got the essentially horizontal elements that kind of do that zigzag pattern, and I was like, why did they do that? Today all the fire blocking I see in construction is horizontal, and I looked at that and I wondered why they did that. And I think the only reason I can think of, when you nail in the fire blocking, it's hard because to put in the second piece, you've got to put in the nail at an angle, and the wood splits, and it's just kind of a pain in the neck. But they put them in on a little bit of an angle, I think, which would have made it a whole lot easier to put in the fasteners to fasten the, I guess, fire blocks, for lack of a better term, to the wall studs, since you had a flatter surface to put it into. And here's one of the carvings on the bar. It's a lion, but it's upside down because that whole decorative element over the bar is upside down. And I looked, there's a hole where the lion's mouth is, and I kind of wondered about that hole, if it served any purpose or if it was just part of the carving. So that I don't know about. And here's some more of the carved elements on the bar. This is on the corner, and obviously that was upside down. But the carving is just beautiful. I can't imagine how somebody would carve that. I guess they'd have to carve it and then sand it all smooth, which must have been incredibly labor intensive. And also on this photo and the other photos, you can see the amount of dust on stuff. They've been working on this hotel, well, according to that sign, since 1988 through a variety of owners. And then on the floor, there is a good photo of the hexagon tiles that are on the floor.
So this is the again the bottom floor of the hotel. This is on the left side of the hotel, and this is the entrance door that faced onto the main highway there. And there's some steps out front. Again, you can find those exterior photos online, but this is how people walked in to the hotel. And this is the same area, just in the corner area. From what I found online, it looks like this area was the dining area. It was a large dining area about the width of the building. So I believe this is the area, and those doors may lead to a different section or maybe the kitchen, not sure. But you can see a photo of the dining area online. And here's a real close up of the floor and the mosaics. And this was throughout the whole, well, we didn't go into that dining room area, but the whole lobby area and the left and right side of that had this kind of tile in it.
The floors in there were neat. They were just these beautiful tile mosaic floors that were set back in the early 1900s. And so we're probably pretty labor intensive. I was thinking about that. Today you buy the mosaic tiles on mesh, you cut them out and put them in. But I would imagine each of those tiles was probably individually hand set. And once you get up to that, you'll get an appreciation for the amount of work that it took. And here you can see some more of the stonework on the wall and then the tile work on the floor. There was a hallway that went back to the dining room, the dining area, and it went past the bar. Women weren't allowed in the bar. So there was a kind of a walk-up window in the hallway that went back to the dining room where the women could stop and get their beverage to take back to the dining room, since they couldn't just walk into the bar and get it.
I wonder how long it took them to do that floor.
Oh man,
Piece by piece,
piece
like
by
that.
piece. I mean, each tile was probably individually hand set, and then they used some sort of a tool to space them out to get the lines straight. But yeah, it must have been very labor intensive. Now you buy those tiles in sheets. Here's the hotel sign again down on the bottom floor, and you can see the plywood floor where the existing flooring has been stripped up. Goldfield Hotel restoration, opening January 1988. Pool, casino, and Edwardian decor.
And apparently, there's been a variety of owners. I did see online that at one time during World War II, the U.S. Army owned the hotel.
That's
So,
right. They talked about that. People that went to the army base in Tonopah, their families came and lived in the Tonopah Hotel.
oh,
And I guess they weren't real happy living there. They ate in the hotel restaurant and they got tired of the food. There was no cooking facilities in the room, and so I don't know how long that lasted, but it must have been a kind of an experience to do that. And here we are now. We're up on the fourth floor, and you could see the extensive amount of remodeling they've done. Those wall studs you see on the right, those are original, based on their dimensional lumber. They're not 2x4s like we have today. And then you see the plaster on the walls. And they indicated that down at the end of this hall, there was a murder, and I forget the details of the murder.
that one I don't recall. Like I say, they a lot of people claim this is one of the most haunted places, but there's supposedly been a few. Somebody committed suicide and jumped off the roof, apparently. But there's the famous, I guess, infamous so-called death or haunting in the building is related to um, room 109, and a mistress of George Wingfield who got pregnant, and she apparently was, I guess, held captive in this room. And anyways, you can read that online. It's kind of a gruesome story, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but you can look that up and get more information. But
And this was neat. This was, I believe, on the third floor. And looking out through that window, the hotel obviously didn't meet the fire exit standards of today. And they didn't want to alter the architecture of the hotel too much. So what they did was they built a stairwell separated from the hotel by, I don't know, 10, 15 feet. And then they were going to make walkways across to that stairwell. And it was neat. There was some owls that was living in the doorway of the stairway that had been constructed, and everybody shining lights in there to look at the owls, and the owls were a little bit annoyed by it, but it was just neat to look in and see these owls just kind of hanging out in there, and that was their home.
I wonder if this was one of the suite rooms or whatnot, because the rooms were not that big.
Nope.
Oh, but here's that wall.
Yeah, here's the close up of the wall and the backside. So there would be metal on the other side that then they smeared the plaster on to form the surface of the wall. You could see how it's kind of squoze through there. This squoze is a word. Squeezed. I like
I don't know what
squoze.
the word is.
I like squoze. This was neat. This was the patch panel for the telephone system in the hotel. And I think they said that it was one of the first hotels to have telephones in each room. And that's where they connected the wires to run to each room. So it's amazing. You look at that stuff today, and it took all that and a whole lot more to get telephones in every hotel room. And now everybody just brings their own in their pocket or purse. We recently stayed at a hotel, and I remember looking at the phone thinking, that thing is absolutely worthless by today's standards.
Oh,
It
in a
was
regular hotel
in a
room.
regular
Yeah.
hotel, yeah.
Nobody uses the hotel phone.
Nope. And this was a fire hose, something they have in hotels today. You could see how you could connect that fire hose to the valve on the right and unreel the hose and go fight a fire. And that was one of the challenges they had with remodeling the hotel to meet today's standards. Now they have to have built-in fire sprinkler systems, and so run new piping all through the hotel. And during the tour, they talked about that was a challenge. But you could see that they were getting the fire sprinkler systems installed. And then that green stuff down below, that is sheetrock like we use in modern buildings. You know, where the wall surface comes in big sheets, they nail it on and they call it mud, but it's just a material they smooth on the wall to get everything flat and smooth, cover the nail holes. This was neat. This is down in the basement, and this is a mechanism that operates the elevator. You can see the big spool that the cable went on, and there's a motor in there somewhere. I'm not too sure where, and then just the controls. Just a neat thing there.
Did you recall or do you remember seeing what brand of elevator it was?
I didn't see what brand of elevator it
That would have
was.
been interesting.
Yeah.
I could find that online somewhere. But the hotel, again, was such a prominent hotel, and it was most elegant or opulent hotel between San Francisco and Denver. And they really promoted having the elevator and obviously the upgrade decor and the features in the rooms. But it's neat to see this elevator equipment.
And another shot of the same elevator. And you could see in this photo, you can see this whole room has been reconstructed, the sheetrock on the wall, the new studs in the background, and then the fire sprinkler piping up above with the fire sprinkler proper coming off the side with the elbow on there. In case the elevator catches on fire, that one would put the fire out.
This was again in the basement area, and there was one section of the wall where there were some of these letters and maps and photographs and stuff that were on the wall. And this one uh, was like a motivational piece for the workers that were there. And I'll have to,
Can you see the date on that?
I want to say 1929. Looks like maybe February 20th, 1929. Dear carrier. So I'm assuming like a carrier, like mail carrier, maybe? I'm thinking was who it was addressed to, but it was that it was still there. Yeah, Casey's Casey's letters, Casey's letter to carriers. But anyways, it was just a neat little thing that, from the 20s, and there were some maps and some old photographs on that wall that are still there. And they haven't taken them off. They left them there. So just kind of if the, for the tours and stuff for people to kind of see. So this is I believe it is the original hotel sign that was over the main entrance into the Goldfield Hotel. So it's cool they still have it. I didn't get a photo of it, but there was an area where they had the salon or barber shop or whatnot that was down there, and it had all the mosaic tile in that room also. But I don't think it had any barbershop type equipment or anything in there. But they were saying that's what the room was.
And this sign was on the outside, basically a help wanted sign. Goldfield Hotel currently looking for licensed contractors, concrete, plumbing, electrical, and masonry work, drop down ceilings. In that box to the right, that's where you could drop your card in. So Goldfield has a population of about 500 people, so they probably didn't have a whole lot of contractors living in Goldfield who are big enough to do a big job like this. So,
And one little side note, over to the right there, you see the column. That's the lobby area, right? So that column, some of the photos you can find online, those columns had upholstered round seats at the bottom of them. So where you would sit, in a lobby. So you can see some of those pictures online.
and this is across the street. This is to the north of the hotel. And I stood there for a while and just looked at that building, and I think the photograph catches it. It's just a real neat image. Brown Parker Auto Company garage. And that I looked at that building and thought about, wow, I wonder, if that building could talk. What stories could it tell? People bringing their car there to get it repaired over the decades, and that looked just like an abandoned building, like a lot of the buildings in Goldfield. Goldfield's really done a great job in retaining their ghost town feel, kind of like Virginia City, but less touristy. It's just a neat town to just go and walk around.
And then this is just to the left of that garage. So just outside of the hotel. This was as we were leaving after we were done with our tour. And people's the red is people's uh,
Tail lights.
tail lights as everybody was leaving from the property. So it was a neat tour. It was neat to get the opportunity to do it at night. Uh, it was cold and stormy that night. It was really, the wind was blowing, and so you saw the moon out. So it kind of added to the whole night experience.
And this is the original image from the front of this video. But I love those clouds above the hotel. It just makes it look spooky. And if you look closely in the window on the left, you can see a woman wearing 1920s clothing, looking out the window, waiting.
Maybe. Well, this ends our video. Thanks again for watching Out and About with Tom and Sherry. And as we said, this is the last video in our Tonopah series, video number 6. We hope you have enjoyed the series and an opportunity to see some of the sights at Tonopah and then here in Goldfield. And if you get a chance to come out to Nevada, we would certainly recommend going to both places.
Yep. And if you liked our video, be sure and hit like. And if you want to see more content like this, be sure and hit subscribe. Really helps us out. Thanks.
Bye bye. We'll see you next time.